I couldn't find a tutorial that clearly showed every step to make a chaos vehicle in Unreal. Today, let's fix that by making one from scratch. We'll start in Blender to create our simple car, then we'll import it into Unreal and use it to make the vehicle blueprint and animate it. By the end of the tutorial, you'll have something that looks like this. Open up Blender, select everything in the default project and delete that shit. Create a new cube, which will be our car's body. Let's scale it along the x-axis since x will be our forward vector. Now let's make our wheels, create a cylinder, and rotate it 90 degrees along the x-axis so it's facing forward. Move it to the back of the car and it will be our back left wheel. Let's make it a little thinner, and there you go, there it is. Let's copy paste it and move it along the y-axis to make the back right wheel. Now, let's select both wheels, copy paste them, and move them along the x-axis to make the front wheels. There we go, we got all 4 wheels. Let's save our work so far. I'm going to name mine My Cool Car. For the skeletal mesh to work in Unreal, we need to make the wheels children of the body. While holding down Shift, select a wheel and then select the body. With both meshes selected, press Ctrl P and pick Set Parent to Object. Do this for each wheel. You will see a dotted line connecting each wheel to the car's body. You will see in the scene collection that the wheels are now underneath the car's body. Now is a good time to rename the meshes to something more descriptive. I'm using chassis for the body and wheel_location for each wheel. Now let's change the scene units. Getting units in Blender to translate nicely into Unreal can be really frustrating. Go to Scene Settings and click Units, set unit scale from 1.0 to 0.01 and set length to centimeters. Now we're going to scale up everything in your scene. Select all the meshes and click S for scale, type 100 to scale by 100 and press enter. Now your viewport is going to be rendering weird, but that's expected. Click on the little arrow on the top right of the viewport, go to View, and set clip start to 0.6 and clip end to 10,000 centimeters. Last step is to apply our rotation and scale to all the meshes. This will set our current rotations and scales to the default. Select all the meshes and press Ctrl A. Apply rotation and scale. Now we are ready to export our car into Unreal. Go to File, Export, Export as FBX. We only need armature and mesh, set X as the forward vector, Z as up, geometry, smoothing face, deselect animation because we don't have any animations, and export. Alright, let's over to Unreal. Open up Unreal Engine and we are going to create a new project. I'm using Unreal 5.6. Select Vehicle Project Template. You can change the project defaults, but I'm going to leave them as is. Name it something descriptive and set where you want the project to be. It will take a while for Unreal to build it, so I'm going to skip forward to after it opens. Now that we are inside our project, go to Edit, Plugins, and we're going to search for Chaos Vehicle Plugin. When you find it, select it and make sure it's enabled. If it's not already enabled, Unreal may prompt you to restart, and go ahead and do that so that it will take effect. Okay, just to mess around a little bit, let's hit play and we're going to get a working sports car. It uses a skeletal mesh and vehicle pawn. This is really similar to what we are going to be creating, but ours will be from scratch. To do that, let's create a new folder. I'm going to name mine My Cool Car. Let's then go into it and press Import. Let's select our exported FBX file we generated in Blender. And in the bottom right hand corner, let's change the import file type to FBX skeletal meshes. This is really important if you want the mesh to import correctly. Unreal will prompt you for some import options. Select skeletal mesh and import. So after importing, we now have 3 files, a skeletal mesh, and a physics asset. Drag the skeletal mesh into your scene and it should be pretty reasonably sized. If it's really tiny or huge, something is probably off with your units in Blender. Open up the skeleton file and you will see the chassis and wheel bones named what we set them in Blender. Now open up the physics file and you will see the same bones there as well. Each bone has a physics body associated with it. The default physics bodies are capsules. When Unreal is doing physics simulations on your skeletal mesh, these are what it will be using. Our chaos vehicle will use the wheel physics bodies. If we left them as is, they would be capsules and that would cause them to wobble. That could be good for a funny car, but we want one that drives normally. So the shape we want is a sphere. So let's update them. Highlight all the wheels, and then on the right hand side, under body creation, do primitive type, click the drop down and select sphere. Then select regenerate bodies. Now they're all spheres. For the chassis physics body, let's select it and change the primitive type to single convex hull. Again, regenerate bodies. There you go. Now the physics bodies look reasonable. The physics bodies of your mesh should not collide with each other by default. You can double check by selecting them all and seeing if the option to disable collision is grayed out. If it is not, disable it. Now it's time to make our actual chaos vehicle. Let's open up the content drawer, right click new blueprint, open up the all classes dropdown and search for BP_P_vehicle and hit select. Let's rename it BP My Cool Car and open it up. You will notice it already has some stuff in it. We have 2 cameras on spring arms, one for a behind the car view and one for the front of car view. We also have a vehicle mesh, which is where we will be putting our created mesh. Let's select the skeletal mesh asset and set it to My Cool Car. Alright, now it's in there. The camera is a little close, so I'm going to make the back camera spring arm target a little bit longer. Alright, let's try and control this new vehicle. Go to Project Settings, search for Default, and set the default pawn class to My Cool Car. Now if we go back and hit play, oh, my player start is too close to the ground for my car. Let's get rid of that extra mesh and move the player start up a little bit. Alright, we are now controlling our car, but the wheels look a little sad. Right now, they're just hanging off the chassis. This is expected because we haven't told Unreal that these are our wheels. Let's set that up now. The wheels will get their own blueprints. Go to the content panel, right-click, new blueprint, and search for Chaos Vehicle Wheel. We will name the first one BP My Cool Car Back Wheel. Let's make a second blueprint and name it BP My Cool Car Front Wheel. We will have 2 wheels because their behavior will be different. Our front wheel will turn for steering and our back wheel will be affected by the engine. Let's open up the back wheel blueprint first and we're going to set the wheel radius. Now we want its radius to match the radius of the physics body spheres we are using in the car's physics bodies mesh. Let's open up the physics bodies file and select one of the wheels, and in the detail panel, go to primitives. We can see the sphere and see its radius. Let's grab that value and apply it to the wheel's radius in the Chaos Vehicle blueprint. Let's also set axle type to back, and set affected by engine to true. Now open the front wheel blueprint. Set its axle type to front. Set its radius to 101 and set it to be affected by steering. Hop back into the My Cool Car blueprint and select the vehicle movement component. Inside there is a section called Wheel Setups. It's an array of 4. Let's expand the array. Here we're going to say what our 4 wheel classes are and what physics body on the physics body skeletal mesh each is associated with. Make the wheel names match what you name them in the skeleton. And let's set the wheel classes to the new blueprints we just created. Let's compile it. Go back to the viewport. Press play. And we are moving. Pretty sweet. We have some suspension, but the wheels aren't turning. Let's fix that. It doesn't look very good. Let's get our wheels animating. Right-click the content drawer and select New Animation Blueprint. Expand the search bar below and search for Vehicle Animation Instance as the parent. Select your skeleton to be your imported skeleton, i.e. My Cool Car. This allows us to access some really quick and easy animation nodes built in with Unreal. Let's name it BPA My Cool Car. Now navigate to the animation blueprint from the template sports car and let's steal some nodes. So we're going to start with the mesh space ref pose. That's going to feed into the wheel controller, which is the built-in node we want from Unreal. That will then feed into component to local node, and then that will feed into our output node. The wheel input node maps steering input into turning the wheels on your mesh. After it is all connected, compile and go back to BP My Cool Car. Inside BP My Cool Car, go to the animation section of details, set animation mode to use animation blueprint, and set animation class to our new class. Compile, try driving your car now and it should turn the wheels. Now we have a basic car, but it is boring. Let's zhuzh it up a bit. I got these reference images of a food truck online, and I'm going to use them to style the chassis. I am bad and slow at Blender, so I'm going to speed this up a bit so you don't see all my bad practices. Alright, I think it looks a little bit better now. I added some more static mesh doors that are children to the chassis. I parented them the same way we did earlier for the wheels. As you can see on this door, I moved the pivot point so it rotates on the hinge. I haven't set up the back doors yet, so we can do that together. Select one of the doors, go to Edit Mode, create a vertex, select it, hit Shift S, and select Cursor to Selected. I am then going to go back to Object Mode, select the door, go to Object Menu, set Origin to 3D Cursor. After we do this for all our doors, let's export and add back to our Unreal project. I'm going to fast forward through this section since we already covered importing the mesh and setting its physics boundaries. Now that we are driving, we see that the newly added skeletal bones are just hanging off the vehicle. They are behaving the same way the wheels did when we first imported them. This is happening because we haven't defined the joints yet. Let's do that now. Each bone is connected to the chassis by a joint that was created by Unreal for you. On the joint, we can restrict how the child bone moves. I already set the restriction on the back left door. Let me show you how to restrict the others. Open the physics body and zoom in on one of your joints. Scroll down to the angular limit section of the joint and set it to only swing in the swing one motion. Now it can only swing along the XY plane. The red triangle shows its rotation range. Now we want the joint to be facing towards the center of the door and only swing outward. To do this, go to the Constraint Transform section and set the child rotation to -90 and the parent rotation to -135 on the Z axis. Let's save it and see the door swinging now. Now the door can only move along this joint range. I don't want the other joints to move for now, so let's just lock them. Now we have our working vehicle. There are tons more to customize, but this is a good stopping point. You can change all sorts of things like tire grip, cornering, drag, pretty much anything you would want. If you like this tutorial, consider subscribing and sticking around. A devlog of my next game is here, and a retrospective on my first game is here. It's free on Steam. If you want to check it out, there's a link in the description. Thanks. Bye.